In our line of work, we handle information all day, every day. But what happens when that information is more than just a name or a phone number? Okay, let's really dive into this because there's a whole category of data that's so critical, well, sensitive, that getting it wrong can have some pretty serious consequences.
So just pause and think about that for a second. When you're looking at all the info you collect from a client, can you instantly tell which pieces the law considers sensitive? It's a really important question because the answer totally changes the rulebook for how you have to handle it.
And that right there is the absolute core of what we're talking about. So many people think that all client data is kind of the same, that it all fits under one big umbrella. But legally and ethically, that's just not how it works. Some pieces of information demand a much, much higher level of protection.
All right, so let's break down this key difference. Getting a handle on the two main categories of data, it's really the first and most important step to staying compliant and, honestly, to building real trust with your clients.
So, on one side, you've got your standard personal data. This is the broad stuff, right? A name, an email, an address, basically anything that can point to a specific person. But then, on the other side, you have sensitive personal data. Now this is in a whole other league. This is the information that gets right into the most private, most intimate parts of someone's life.
And I want to be super clear. This isn't just a friendly suggestion. This is the law. Article 3 spells it out for us. The key phrases to lock onto here are most intimate sphere and could lead to discrimination. That's the legal test. That's what bumps a piece of data up into this sensitive category.
Okay, so the legal definition is a great start, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's get really concrete and look at some specific examples that are pulled straight from the law itself. Now take a look at this list. We're talking about someone's race, their health status, their genetic info. We're talking about their religious beliefs, their political opinions, even their sexual orientation. This is the kind of stuff that, if it got into the wrong hands, could be weaponized. It could be used to discriminate. And that's exactly why it has all this special protection around it.
So now we know what sensitive data looks like. The next logical question is, what's the right way to handle it? What's the protocol? This is where the law gets incredibly specific about what you have to do.
It's really a two-step process, and you can't skip or have to either part. First, you've got to be on high alert. You have to identify the moment you're about to collect this kind of data. And second, and this is totally non-negotiable, you must get express consent and it has to be in writing. A quick verbal okay or some pre-checked box on a form, nope, not going to cut it.
And this right here, Article 9, it just perfectly illustrates the point. It leaves zero room for guessing. The law demands a real, verifiable action from the client. We're talking a physical signature, an electronic signature, something that proves they knew exactly what they were agreeing to. It creates a paper trail that shows they knowingly let you handle their most private information.
Okay, so you did it. You got the written consent, you're in the clear, right? Well, not so fast, because that consent you got is directly tied to another really important document, your privacy notice.
The best way to think about your privacy notice is like a contract. It's a deal you're making with your client. It tells them exactly what data you're collecting, and, just as importantly, exactly how you plan to use it. That permission they gave you only covers the stuff you've spelled out in that notice. Nothing more, nothing less.
And here's the trap that's so easy to fall into. Let's say a new marketing idea pops up, or maybe you want to run some new kind of analysis on that client data. What do? Can you just, go ahead and use it since you already have it?
The answer is a huge, emphatic no. You can't. Article 12 is crystal clear on this. If you want to use that data for any new purpose, anything that wasn't in the original privacy notice they agreed to, you have to go back to square one. You have to ask for their permission all over again for that new, specific thing. The original permission slip doesn't just carry over.
So, let's pull all these threads together. Understanding these rules, respecting the boundaries around sensitive data, this isn't just about trying to avoid a fine. It's about what it means to be a professional. It's about earning and keeping trust.
And this is the bottom line. This is the ultimate takeaway. Protecting your client's sensitive data isn't optional. It's not a best practice or a nice to have. It is a fundamental core part of your job, a serious duty that is both legal and ethical.
When you really get down to it, it's about a two-way street. When you handle sensitive data the right way, you're building a fortress around your client, protecting their privacy and keeping them from harm. But at the same time, you're building that exact same fortress around your own business, protecting your reputation and your integrity. So the real question to ask yourself is, are your practices truly protecting both?